Now, in a rapidly changing economy, there's a notion among the upwardly mobile that one job, even two, are no longer enough to support the average Nigerian family. Now, people now have to mix and match, chop and change through jumble of mostly poor-paying jobs in order to meet up with the demands of everyday life. And this continues to feed into the ongoing crave for a hasty exit from the country, especially among young people. Now we have Dr. Muftiah Jokomba. Is a physical therapist, model, and a philanthropist. She joins us to look at the subject of strategies for navigating a dynamic economy, balancing multiple streams of income. It's good to have you here on
Thank you for
Newsday.
having me. Thank you for having me. How are y'all doing today?
Oh, we're doing fantastic. All right, so talk to us. I'm very, very intrigued by this particular subject because a lot of people probably, I always feel, personal opinion, that a lot of people do not know what they are getting into when they want to probably make that particular migration. No thanks to the fact that they say that their current jobs cannot sustain their livelihood at the moment.
Right.
And as a physical therapy, is it about the physical state or the mental state? Which of them actually is more prevalent in trying to deal with the hardships that we get to see around ourselves?
I'll outright say it's the mental state, because a lot of times your mental state dictates your physical state, and we might not realize that as human beings, but what goes on in your brain a lot of time dictates what happens in your body and how you go through your processes. So when you decide you want to go to a place or you want to transition to a place where you're going to have multiple streams of income, you kind of have to get like a mental preparation and click in your head that, okay, yes, I really want to do this, because it's not an easy thing to just get into. It's quite hard.
Doctor, how dynamic is Nigeria's economy lately with high inflation, multiple taxation, and of course a high dependency on oil proceeds for us to be able to, give us that motivation, as it were, to go into multiple stream of incomes?
Okay. So personally, I can't say whole lot about the Nigerian economy or the Nigerian specifically, because I'm not necessarily based in Nigeria, but I'm very Nigerian in my ways. I do a lot of research. I'm very versed in the economy of Nigeria. So I also know like with things like exchange rates constantly changing, things like just the economy itself, the lack of jobs, it's just itself in Nigeria, it's quite hard. So when you're trying to find things like finding a different source of income, it's more like, do you want to do something that is still within your purview and your expertise? Or do you want to step out and find a whole nother section of like a whole nother economy that you want to start tapping into? So it's available in a dynamic, but it's just a matter of what do you want to do personally as a human being and what's your interest?
All right, okay, let's talk about side hustles.
Okay.
It seems to be the trend, and you go online and you get to see everybody selling the latest silver bullets or the latest blue pill on how to just create a side hustle that can make you millions.
Right.
And some do believe that for you to actually get ahead and probably get to that place where you're comfortable with what you're earning, the currency in the labor market is skill more than multiple jobs. So the question now is, how do we really balance that? Because right now, the trend is about trying to get multiple streams of income rather than probably just having a vertical that actually probably just elevates you in your career. Talk to us about those.
So I think the unfortunate thing with that is like, realistically, like 20, 30, X amount of years ago, going the vertical route was ideal. You get a job, you get good at it, you get promoted, income starts, and that's just the way it was. But unfortunately, we just live in an economy now where it's across the world, like in America, Nigeria, everywhere, employers aren't really doing that anymore. And even if they do promote you within the industry, they're not really giving you that pay difference where it matters for the amount of jobs.
For the people in tech, This does not apply to them.
Tech I feel like tech is a different conversation because tech people they're a little different because they can do so much more. They can work from home. They can like go to the office. They can have multiple things. Because tech is a bit different. For someone like me, I'm a physical therapist.
Okay.
My job is I have to go see my patients. I have to do I have to spend like an hour with each patient. That's not the same thing as someone that can go on a computer, have multiple screens open, and probably doing multiple jobs at the same time.
Okay.
I was going to talk about the tech thing. Now that you brought it up, I'm still going to ask anyway. So, when it comes to technology, we've seen proliferation of, multiple streams of incomes. But is that necessarily the way to go? When you talk about social media and, of course, the misdemeanors being perpetrated in social media as well,
right.
Can you trust the system? And will it also lead to what you're actually looking for, you think?
I honestly believe social media is an amazing tool that people just need to utilize the right way. Because social media gives you the opportunity that you cannot get anywhere else. It gives you the audience to literally the entire world. No matter what your business is, as long as you have the capacity to feed that, social media is an amazing tool for that. But the problem is, because the world is the world, where you find good, you also find the not so good. So all the things where they're gonna come in and it's gonna happen, but that's just anywhere else. You can walk into a room and there'll be the good and the not so good. So it's just a matter of your intention and what you wanna gain. If you know you wanna use social media for your business, then focus on that. Everything else is gonna come. There's nothing you can do about that.
All right. From your bio, you're a doctor of physical therapy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that and how important is it in this world we find ourselves, whereby we are becoming less, or we are having less contact with people.
Right.
How important, or is it affecting your own industry, or how important is it also, probably a second question, to still have that physical interaction that can never be taken away, so to speak?
Absolutely. So as a physical therapist, it's probably the biggest thing is interaction, like you just said, and how I look at people, how I work with people, and how I can touch you and see what's going on there. But the unfortunate reality is because of the less physical interactions that we're having in the economy and just in the world in general, and we're slowly starting to get back to normal, but it's still not the same, right? And when it comes to things like using that and how we use that to apply to our lives, and how we then move into things like having dynamic and different sources of income, you need to start thinking about how you take care of yourself. Because as much as you can go to a physical therapist or you can go to a doctor and X, Y, and Z, you're probably only doing that when there's something wrong and something happens, not when you're fine and everything is feeling good. So it's a matter of how you control yourself as a human being and how you treat your own health, how you go out of your way to do things like making sure you move daily, because we are in an economy where we're sitting and we're on the computer all day. Tech guys, like you just said, they spend hours sitting down in one spot all day, not moving their bodies. How are you doing and what are you doing to funnel and actually make your body richer, to make your bank richer?
So you said that you're also involved in philanthropy. So how did that come about?
I've just kind of always been the person where it fuels me just to help people. When I do something to make people smile, that makes me smile, it just makes me happy. And because I come from a background where I didn't have the best of things in life, now that I'm in a position where I do have a bit more than I did, I like to kind of funnel back into that channel. So I've done things like Voices of Malala, which I started doing when I was in high school, and then things like volunteering in food banks and just spending my time when I can, at least, to give back to my community as much as possible.
Very good.
All right. Finally, before we actually go, we've been speaking about multiple streams of income.
Right.
But some will also say, or some people belong to the school of thought. Dave Ramsey, for example, would always say it's not necessarily about the multiple streams of income, but more about how you manage the one that is actually coming in.
Absolutely.
So some would say probably get multiple streams of income to be able to level up, and some would say just cut your clothes according to, or cut your coat according to your cloth, so that you can actually work with what you have,
exactly,
rather than probably slaving and trying to level up, so to speak.
Chasing something that is not where you are. Absolutely. Yes, that is, because even if you get the multiple streams of income, if you still don't have the discipline to manage that properly, your multiple streams of income is not going to make any sense. It's not going to make any difference in your life. So doing things like budgeting, I'm a huge fan of budgeting. I have my amount, I know how much I get per month, or ideally how much I should be getting. I take this amount out for rent, this amount out for food, blah, 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 blah. I section my money. And then the important thing is having the discipline to actually stick to that budget. Because you can create a budget. If you don't stick to it, it means nothing.
True.
In other words, adopting a scale of preference. Among the economics 101 there. Dr. Muftiah, Jokomba, a physical therapist, model philanthropy. I'd like to thank you for your thoughts on those issues. Good to have you with us on Newsday.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, guys.